New at noon, May is National Stroke Awareness Month, and Baptist Memorial Hospital is encouraging people to know the signs of a stroke, which affects nearly 800,000 Americans each year. And joining us now is Dr. Robert Pitcock, the Chief Emergency Medicine at Baptist Memorial Hospital, Union County. How are you doing, Dr. Pitcock?
Great. How are you?
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us, because this is such an important topic that everyone needs to know about. Stroke. What are the signs?
The main signs we use a mnemonic called B FAST. So the B stands for balance. So if you lose your balance, that's one important thing to look for. E stands for eyes. So if you lose your vision, that's another important thing. F stands for face, so you can have a facial droop or facial numbness. That's another important sign. A stands for arms, which means that if your arm or leg is weak or numb, that's another thing to look for. S is speech, which stands for slurred speech, so any difficulties with speech. And then the T stands for time, and what that means is that it's very important if you're having any of these stroke symptoms to go ahead and call 911 to get to a hospital as quickly as possible.
Okay, now what is the biggest mistake you think a lot of people make? Because here's one thing, does all the symptoms hit you at once, or could you one day, feel kind of a little bit of numbness or something like that? Right,
yeah, you can have any of those symptoms. You don't have to have all of them. So if you have any of those symptoms, you need to go ahead and seek medical attention, because the longer you wait, the less we can do for you from an emergency room standpoint.
Okay, and what are some of the solutions? What can people do, I guess, as a way of preventing a stroke?
Prevention is one of the major things that we could do. Keeping your blood pressure under control. Atrial fibrillation, which is a heart arrhythmia, is a very common cause of strokes, and so you need to be following up with your primary care provider to make sure that you're not in atrial fibrillation, that your blood pressure is under good control. If you're a diabetic, you need to make sure your glucoses are under good control, and you also need to make sure your cholesterol is good.
Now, before we let you go, anything you want to tell our viewers when it comes to this topic?
Yeah, I think the main thing is to get attention as soon as possible, because there are several things that we can do to help you if you get to the emergency room. But if you wait, the time limit that we usually look at is 4.5 hours. So if you wait over 4.5 hours from the time that your symptoms start, there's less that we can do. So call 911, get to an emergency room as quickly as possible.
All right, then thank you so much, Dr. Pitcock, for joining us this afternoon.